Amazing. Let us move to the next topic of product placement. So the benefit of product placement is that it does not disrupt the content consumption experience of the target audience. It places the product or service in an environment where it is seamlessly used. So I would like to know from our panelists any good examples where product placement has been used very effectively. So we'll start with Abhinaya.
Sure, Nikhil. So product placements, I'm not sure how many of them listening to this would be knowing this. So I would like to explain what is product placement and simultaneously I would be giving examples. So that would be a better clarification to the audience. So, whenever it's also called as embedded marketing or advertising, whenever a product or a brand is showcased on TV shows or films or web series in terms of OTT or YouTube or however, so that is what is called as product placement. I'll give you an example. In recent times, not in recent times, obviously Ram Leela was long back. So Ram Leela, the film Ram Leela, they had a tie-up with C Bazaar, online apparel portal, where they were contributing or sponsoring to the costumes of the Ram Leela, a particular song. So this is one example. What the brand should be aware of, or the businesses should be aware of, is they should be very particular that they are not overboarding. They should be very careful about the placements. They should be. It should not be very obvious that they are sponsored. So these are some of the things that they should be avoiding it. It will be very good for the brand as well as the film or the web series they are placing it in. One more good examples which I would give you is, you must be aware of, some incidents on the films where people will be calling and they will be saying, your so and so is in an emergency ward in a so and so hospital, XXX hospital. So that is also a product placement. Maybe it is in terms of vocal, so it's called as a vocal exposure. So these are some of the, obviously the Big Boss and all the other examples where they will be sponsoring, but they will be very obvious in the product placement. So yes, it should be very carefully handled so that it will not spoil the credibility of the brand as well as the, where they are placing it. Let it be a web series or let it be any instance. In that case, one more last type which I want to insist on is, it is called as brand or signage exposure. So if at all you have noticed some films or web series, they would be showing the building names. This is just one such example: building names or IT firms names. So those are all called as product placements, and it should be handled very carefully. And again, I insist on that.
Great. Shubhrika, your views on this thing?
Sure. So, first of all, let's touch upon everything that Abhinaya has explained related to embedded marketing or advertising and what we're referring to as product placement. Now, nowadays, what we are seeing is the majority of the OTT content is what she's also touched the light upon, and getting funding for these films or web series, etc., whatever kind of content that we're viewing majorly, is not actually coming in from tickets that box office is actually known for. That once the project is completely made up, it's with the box office money that the actors or the people who performed in the entire project actually get paid. With that going out of the picture, it has become extremely prominent and significant for all these content creators to get in sponsorships in the first place. Now, where is that coming from? Because us as the audience are maybe paying to Netflix or Prime or Hotstar or any other platform that we view on. This is just the example of OTT. But sponsorships, of course, are the major source of income for content creators as of today, be it a YouTube influencer or a social media marketer or these OTT content creators, anything else. What are the sponsorships made of? Are these brands in itself? Now, since we've established that, it's sponsorships majorly. Now, so one was this recent mini web series that came out on YouTube and Dice Media with Ayush and Barkha Singh being the cast, and Close Up and Asian Paints were the major sponsors of this web series. So you in almost every single episode, you'll find them performing leisure tasks or art and craft with Asian paints, spray paints, etc. So many things, and close up as well. So they'll end up using the mouthwash or the toothpaste, etc. All those products by close up more than, of course, any other brand. So, and what happens is that you find that in dialogue as well, but then that doesn't mean that it's out of place. And this kind of product placement, of course, markets the product, markets the brand, but doesn't interrupt the viewing of the content, or and doesn't disrupt the experience of the user as well, right? Because it's all a part of the story. So again, becomes relatable and gives a credibility point of view to the audience. Why? Because about 3 million or 4 million, however many people following that cast, is now developed the fact that, okay, this person who I follow regularly is using the brand that they are trying to market. Now, coming through that following, how is that functioning is through social media as well, if we count it. Now, social media influencers, if we take them into consideration, are also getting paid a lot by paid partnerships and sponsorships. Like Abhinaya said, I agree so much with the fact that it should not be prominently visible that this is a paid partnership, that you're getting paid for marketing that product. Reason being that for your audience, it needs to be relatable. That is the one ground of social media and staying connected with your audience in the first place. So there can be two kinds of posts, and that is the example for which I wanted to share my screen. Now, if you see this particular photograph of one of the influencers with about 6K something following, this is very easily visible that is being sponsored because of the fact that this product is in the light of the picture, and doesn't really speak to the audience that why is the person sponsoring this product, what does she want to tell the audience. Because now what happens with social media in particular is the fact that once you're connected with your audience has a particular perception of yours, that what kind of a person you are. There's a particular niche that you've developed, right? Now, that niche is what needs to be always connected with your content, which in this photograph somehow is not being done. If we take a flip example, that probably will explain this more. Coming to this particular picture. Now, this person is a fashion based influencer, and looking at the picture, your first focus doesn't go to the Nescafe coffee bottle or the Nescafe mug, but the entirety of the picture. Although people who actually are aware about sponsored content being published out there will be able to figure out that this is a paid promotion that this person is doing for Nescafe. But it's very strategically captured, and the content niche has been kept in mind very well. So I think that is one thing, that for product placement, of course, you need to keep in mind what niche you're coming from, what your audience actually relates to, and whether or not the products that you tie up with are actually the kind of content that your audience is going to relate to or not, right? Which is the indirect influence on the audience. Until and unless that happens, that effective result of the audience going up and making the purchase, which was the intention in the first place, is going to get missed out. So that's my take on it.
Awesome. Yes, definitely. I mean, product placement earlier when you had, even now, I mean, you have the movie content and television content is where you are using that product or service in a natural setting. So, generally, advertising is considered very disruptive. Like the experience that the content is giving that particular user, it suddenly disrupts when an ad is there. So product placement is that within the natural environment of whatever is being showcased, like any scene that is there in it, so you are using that product or service, or it is in the background somewhere. The branding is there on some physical product or something. It is able We are able to see it properly, and it is like you can see a seamless experience. So it has changed all over the years now with the you even call product placement like say a vlogger is using a certain kind of a camera or something, and he talks about it, or he's showing it in his laptop or something. So even that could be referred to as product placement.